Hi everyone, and welcome to Magic XPA 3 Live question and answer session. We would like to welcome you to experience with us the Power of 3, which is our XPA 3, very robust and powerful version that we're releasing on May 12th. Here in the room with me, my name is Itai Galmor. I'm the VP Global Marketing and Business Development. With me is Eyal Rosenberg, Product Manager for the Magic XPA. We're joining us shortly, Yuval Avi, our VP Corporate for Professional Services and Support. Without further ado, let's start and understand a little bit about the rules of the game today. We have 10 minutes overview of what's new, followed by the question and answers. To answer, and we invite you to answer, please type your questions in the public chat. Please make sure it's aimed to all, so everybody can, so we can see it. We will answer as many questions as possible during the call. We'll start with questions that were already submitted on the registration page that everybody registered through. The question and answer responses will be sent to everyone after the call. Please bear with us. It might get technical. It's not by incident, actually deliberately. This session is especially targeted to the people that have downloaded the version 3, have played with it, and we would like to encourage you all to play with it. Find anything you want, comment, and hopefully we'll have a survey, by the way, sent to you in a few days, so you can actually express your feedback on anything you find interesting or worth sharing with us. So, a little bit about Magic XPA, which is from our recent analyst report called OVUM. I will let you read it, but we are very encouraged with the feedback that we got. As you know, we are a veteran in the development space. We continue to evolve our 4GL approach. We are switching from proprietary IDE to one of our to Microsoft Visual Studio, and this is one of the enhancements that we're going to talk about today in this session. So, what's new? In the Magic XPA 3, we have invested a lot in in-memory computing, meaning we have enhanced messaging layers based on in-memory data grid, IMDG, as well in-memory data processing that we will talk about quite a lot today. We have our enhanced IDE environment and then a lot of powerful mobile development capabilities, because the world is going mobile, as you all know. I will hand over to Eyal the privilege to talk about what's in it for you. I encourage you all to ask questions in the chat so we could answer it, and we could have a fruitful discussion. Eyal?
Thank you, Itai. Okay, so these are the major highlights of version 3. We're not going to show a demo of those features. We assume that you already played with the version a bit. But for those who haven't or didn't check all the features, so we have the in-memory data grid in two levels, as Itai mentioned. One of them as the messaging layer, as a replacement to the broker. This will allow you to have better scalability and robustness of your project using the ZAP product of Gigaspaces. It's the award-winning product. It's not our own proprietary product like the broker. And we use the same product for data processing. You can store data on the cloud, on the space, in an in-memory space, using the RAM capabilities and fast performance. And you can also use it in a write-behind mode, what is called hibernate. So you write data to the space, and later on this data is synchronized into your MySQL or Oracle database. This will allow you to improve the performance of your applications. From our IDE, we have our Studio, which has a new form designer based on Visual Studio Form Designer. So if you're opening the Studio, you will see the same Studio, but by drilling down into the form designer of display forms, you will see the new Visual Studio allowing docking capabilities, new document outline, new property grid with filtering capabilities, and so on. One of the features in the Visual Studio is actually a mobile preview pane, which shows you mobile devices. It allows you to easily change the orientation of the device. You can add your own devices. You can change the devices on this screen from phone to tablet and see how your application is going to look without even running it on the devices. We also have a new expression editor, which is an enhancement of the old expression editor with better functionality of filtering or coloring inline and so on. Some more things for mobile are a mobile design mode. We saw that when developing for mobile, you need to always change some things like the height of the controls or the placement values. So we are now added a new mode which allows you to easily drop controls on the form, and we are setting the default values as best as we think should be used. So this is the mobile design mode. And last but not least is the encryption for a local database on Android and iOS, and of course on the server side. So if you want to encrypt your data and save it secured because you're concerned about security of local data, then you can also do it in version 3. And again, these are the major highlights. There are also some more things in this version. You can look at the release notes and see all the new changes. That's it. That's wrapped most of the functionality, and now I think we'll give you the stage for questions and answers. So
we will move to our pre-registered questions. Let's start. Our first question. Just a sec. Interesting. Just bear with us, please. Let's, here we are. Does this version need new licensing? Is this a free upgrade for those who have valid licenses for xpa 2? I will let Yuval answer this.
The licensing?
Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
I will answer this one. So yes, version 3 requires a separate license for version 3. As for the pricing or a free upgrade or so, this is should be considered checked with your local branches, because different branches have different contracts with the customers regarding support and so on. So this should be checked with your branch. Okay, this is the same question as before. Different person asked for it, but
can I define devices of my own in the mobile preview other than the ones offered? This is DJ from USA.
Yeah, okay. You can define your own devices. All the devices are written in your in a section in the Magic INI. So if you use your own Magic INI, you can copy them from the default Magic INI with the installation, or you can add them using the settings menu of the studio.
Questions from LV from Netherlands. Will there be a free single user version? Actually, I can answer it. On May 12th we are releasing the general availability version. The same day that we will have our single user version on our website for download, and we actually encourage everybody to download and use it, or invite your friends to use it. By the way, we are now, I can see questions that are submitted through our chat. I encourage everybody to have to chat with us, submit your questions. We would love to answer them later on after this session, after the ready-made questions that we have. And the next question is, how can Magic xpa 3 be configured to take advantage of multi-core processors? This is from Canada.
Okay, so from the multi-core perspective, Magic XPA version 3 is not different from Magic XPA version 2, but Magic XPA is multi-threaded, so each thread can run on different core, so it will be using the full capacity of CPUs, so you don't need to configure anything here.
Next question from Netherlands. After closing Magic XPA 3 Windows 7 Professional, it always says Magic XPA Studio has stopped working. How can I close it without an error?
I don't know, this looks like a defect or something. We didn't encounter this problem in all of our testing environment or customers who got the version. So if this can be reproduced, then it should be delivered to the support, and then we continue from there.
Next question. Do we need to purchase a Visual Studio? It's from France.
The answer is no, you do not need to buy or install a Visual Studio. When you install Magic XPA version 3, we already install Visual Studio integrated isolated shell, and it's free of charge. You don't need to pay anything to anyone.
Next question from DB from Argentina. Is there any improvement to reports generation?
Simple answer, no, there isn't.
We haven't invested in this version. The next question is coming from Brazil. Are there improvements in Report Designer and or charts?
Currently not. We have plans to improve the Report Designer in the next upcoming versions. In this version, only the display form designer was improved to be based on Visual Studio. We're doing it step by step.
I thank everybody the way that asked the questions and gives us feedback. We will shortly move to the question that you are submitting now. Just we want to run over the question that were already asked through our registration form. The next question is from Hungary. Can we put controls on the GUI in runtime?
No, you cannot change or add controls dynamically at runtime. You can do it using .NET code, but it's highly advanced stuff, so not really recommended.
Next question coming from Israel. Are there plans to support WPF? Is there any news about better support for web services as far as removing the need to use Systinet for hosting WS with Active Directory authentication? Eyal?
Okay, so these are actually two questions. So for supporting WPF, we don't have any plan to support it now. And as for the Systinet, for this question is for hosting. So as a provider, we're currently not planning to replace Systinet. As a client, we always checking out new capabilities of clients and maybe integrate another client to support better integration with the consumer of web services and authentication.
To the one that are asking, will we demonstrate the new expression editor? No, there is no demonstration on this session, just to let you know. Still, we are accepting your questions being asked through the chat. Please make sure it's submitted to all, and I can see them piling up. So we will be moving to the questions soon. The next question on the slides. Let's see. Always some technical problems. There must be yours. Here we are. Migration from Magic XPA 2.5. What do we need to do, and what should we look out for? This is by Casey from USA.
Okay, so actually you don't need to do anything. The runtime and the file structures remain the same. So it's not like from version 1 to version 2 where there were a lot of UI changes. From version 2.5 to version 3, you just need to open your project, and that's it. Of course, it's always recommended to keep a backup of your project, but there is no need to do any migration or conversion of any type.
Next questions. Can I migrate directly from Unipass 1.9 to Magic XPA 3? Asking LM from Italy.
The answer is yes, you can. Magic XPA 3 also includes the migration process from version 1 to version 3 or to version 2, doesn't matter. So you can migrate immediately. You don't need to install version 2 for it.
Only licenses, I guess, right? They need
license
to
from 1 to 3, but you don't need
right.
to buy another license for version 2 in the middle.
Perfect. I understand that the studio can no longer be opened from a network drive. Please explain why this is the case. We're talking about a comment that we're seeing on the Unipass Software Users Yahoo group. We appreciate every user that we have there.
Yeah, this is a limitation actually based on Visual Studio. You cannot run Visual Studio from a network drive, and we are now having Visual Studio integrated in our studio. So in Visual Studio, you can always only load projects from a network drive, but you cannot install it or run it from a network drive. So nothing we can do about it.
Question from Belgium. When using in-grid memory as cache, how is the transaction handling to the back-end database, meaning Oracle?
When using the in-memory data grid for database usage, then we have actually two modes. One is to just work with it as a read-only, and the other one is to use the Hibernate. I assume this question is about Hibernate. So when you update the data grid, all your updates are stored in the data grid in the space, and once the space have idle time, or actually once in a while, it saves all this data into your Oracle or MS SQL in the background. Of course, all the data can be partitioned and back up in the space, so there is no risk of losing it if one machine drops down or something like this.
And this is part of the advantages in grid, I guess.
Yes.
We are now answering questions that are submitted during the webinar. We offer everybody and urge everybody to send us the questions, and we are here to answer them, actually. The first one coming from Joseph. With a new form designer give you mobile previews of OEM based skins on Android, Samsung, LG, and so on. All uses their own themes and colorings.
No, the mobile preview only shows you how our control will look like on a mobile device. So it's mostly used for calculating the placement values or locations or size of the control. So if you place a control on the lower button, bottom of the screen, how will it be shown on a phone or a tablet, and so on. We are not showing any skins or themes of different Android versions, for example, because there are hundreds of these. It's not a simulator.
By the way, Eyal, I know that from the previous session that if there is no, if we can add, they can add mobile devices if they want, right? It's not only limited to what the...
Yeah, they can add devices, but actually this is for the devices sizes to get
right. Not the themes, not the specific themes.
Yeah.
All right. I can see we have from Meyer a lot of feedback and comments. We appreciate it. We won't read it here. Is there a mechanism for mobile testing? Asking Alex.
Actually, we need more information about this question for mobile testing, because we use, for example, automation tools to test our mobile client. So this can be done by using third-party testing tools for mobile devices. This is what we do. We test the runtime using automation tools.
There you are. By the way, we actually have such a service if somebody wants. How do we add other components to the Forms toolkit pane, like DevExpress? Asking Meyer.
Okay, we're talking about the .NET. There are a few enhancements. First of all, if you define a model of .NET, you can see it in the model pane, a new pane we added to the form designer, so you can drop the model directly on the form, and the control will be created and will be seen on the form designer. And if not, you can drop the variable on the form. You cannot add different controls to the toolbox, but since there is now the model pane, you don't need to.
All right. See a question from Danny. Any conversion problems? Is this a question?
There are no conversion problems because there is no conversion process. So the runtime was not changed dramatically. Of course, it was changed due to bug fixes and new capabilities, but it's not as major change as from version 1.9 to version 2. So there is no conversion process. So by definition, there are no conversion problems.
All right. Next question from Arch. Can version Magic XPA version 3 Studio develop for 2.5 runtime?
We never check the scenario of developing with a newer studio and deploying on an older one. It's not a recommended thing because there are new properties and new features, and the runtime behavior of getting new things is actually unexpected because it does not expect them. So it's never recommended to do it.
Okay. I remind you, everybody, that that you can look us at the social networks. We will post some of the question and answers there. We urge you to send more questions, and without further ado, we'll go to the next question submitted by Charles. What version of Visual Studio is bundled in, and can you bundle in the latest?
Okay, so currently for version 3, we have the iterated shell of Visual Studio 2010. In the next version, we hope to go to Visual Studio 2013. It's just that Microsoft changes their API, so every change like this requires a lot of programming for us, and moving now to the latest one requires postponing the release, and we didn't want to do it.
Very good.
But for you, it's an isolated shell. You don't see it, you don't know it exists, so it doesn't really matter. Only the ID that might change later on can be seen. I don't know.
Next questions by Manuel. Systems have limitations, like no support for 2048-bit certificate. Any plan to deliver a new solution for SOA server or an improved version of SystemNet?
Actually, there are no improved version of SystemNet, so this direction is off. Yeah, we are always looking for ways to improve, as I mentioned before, our web services capabilities. Currently, we're focusing on the client, on the consumer side. Server side is always much more complex. There are not many tools that can provide dynamically providing web service capabilities, so it's much more complex.
Okay, another question by Manuel. When the full XPA Studio will be based on Visual Studio?
Okay, so we are doing it in parts. As you saw in version 3, we are releasing the new Visual Studio based form designer and expression editor and some of the pick list in those areas. And in each version that we are going to release, we are planning to release another piece of the product based on Visual Studio. It depends on the complexity of the items, so eventually we will get there. We are actually putting the focus on the things that developers do the most. So form designer is one of the things that developers spend a lot of time there. So this is the reason we started with the form designer.
Okay, I think this is the last question by Meyer. I would love to learn more about GigaSpaces and how we can take advantage of this new feature. Speaking with other Magic developers, that this is really information that most of us don't have, and it seems that we can use a lot of guidance here. We're not going to demonstrate this. Nevertheless, I think first of all, I think we plan our blog post today about about the GigaSpaces and understanding about the capabilities. Eyal?
We have a concept paper. Again, it's not learning about GigaSpaces. It's a concept paper of how to install it for deployment to make it easier with troubleshooting and expected results and so on. But again, it's for deployment. It's not for playing with it or learning the capabilities. For those of you who know Magic XPI, so it's the same capabilities, it's the same GigaSpaces product. If not, I would suggest contacting your branch, either to the PS guys there or support, and see what solution can fit you.
Right. As for Manuel and other people that were asking, yeah, we are recording this session, another session. We're gonna put it online. I recommend. I'm not sure that we're gonna send it, but I recommend that you guys will follow us on our social, on our website, on our blog, and on our social networks. You will get indications. I'm not sure if it's going to do it before the launch, because actually you guys had the privilege of having a sneak peek to XPA 3. It wasn't officially released on general availability. So actually, everything that we answer is not official, but we're gonna publish this Q&A on a website, and we would love you to come over and listen to it again. Learn as much as you can. I'm sure that we will send you a survey about the new version. We would love to learn more detailed feedback that you have on this version. Share your thoughts, share your feedback. We will send it to you. I see another couple of questions. What's the interface of this in order to switch between Gigaspace and then the broker? Asking Mark.
It's not actually interface. First of all, the broker is still supported. We didn't say it, but the broker is still supported. It is still functioning. Nothing was removed. And when using the studio, you can only use the broker. You cannot use the studio with runtime gigaspaces because it's not meant to. You will not develop using lots of memory consumption gigaspaces. But for deployment, for real deployment, we of course recommend using gigaspaces. It's much more modern and suitable for scalability. It's much more robust. It allows you to add servers on the fly without any configurations. It has a lot of advantages over the broker. So from deployment point of view, there is a different method to deploy gigaspaces. As I said, there is a concept paper about it. Nothing you need to change in your application between using a broker or using gigaspaces.
All right, guys. I think we have answered all your questions. I'm sure that you've got many more. We'll keep our eyes open and our ears open through the social. Thank you for participating in our Q&A session, and hope you enjoy XPA 3 Magic. Thank you very much. Bye.
Nice.